In this video, I'm going to show you how I was unknowingly killing my family slowly every time I started a fire, and what I did to change that and to keep the air quality good in our house. A few months ago, I was waking up every night and I was wheezing, and my daughter, who's laying right over there, she was coughing a lot. We just thought it was the winter. Everybody was getting sick last winter. And so after a while, it started, and I was having allergies. And so after a while, I started to wonder, and I smelled smoke one night. And I thought, well, I think maybe I should check with the fire, because maybe I'm actually building fires that are smoking out the house and I don't know it. Because we tried a lot of other stuff to stay healthy, and it seemed like something else was going on. So I went online, I did a bunch of research, and at first I thought I was going to have to get rid of this stove, because basically when I did a bunch of research on the wood stoves, there's no stoves that don't put particulate matter into your house. So, but we were on a tight budget, like maybe you are. And that seemed like that was a huge expense. They were $2,000-3,000 for the ones that really kept your house clean. And we wanted to see if we could do it without that. So the first thing that we did was I looked up and I found the indoor air quality tester. And so we went on Amazon and we bought this guy right here, which is actually on right now, right here. And what we would find is that when we started the stove in the mornings when it was cold, even if I built the fire pretty well, a lot of times the smoke would come back in the house, and a lot of times I couldn't even tell whether there was smoke in the house. But right here it would show us. So anyway, so we got one of these, and then I would find out that in the mornings when I was starting the fire, that smoke was coming back into the room. And that helped me monitor real time how effectively I was building the fires. Okay, all right. So my daughter's just informing me too that we also do have air filters throughout the house. We have one in this room, we have one in our kitchen, and we have one in each bedroom. So when I was finding that the fire was blowing a little smoke back into the house, I would turn on all the air filters. And if it was really bad, then I would open up the doors and windows. Now, mind you, we've been in this house for 3 years, and we're totally committed to the homestead lifestyle, and we're committed to using wood as our heating source. We go out and we live on basically a 50-acre parcel with lots of wood and lots of fire hazard. So we go out and we thin the forest selectively so we can harvest more wood. We love heating with wood, and we're going to keep doing it. We're totally committed to it, but we want to do it in a way that's healthy for our family. We moved out here to live a healthy, sustainable life out in the country, to grow our own food, and heating with wood is part of that program. So without further ado, how can you build a fire that isn't going to blow smoke back into the house? And how can you know? So the number one thing is to get one of these. Before I had the monitor, I really couldn't tell what was happening. And the other cool thing about this is if you're cooking something on the stove, like we've got an air fryer. And I love the air fryer. We make chicken wings and French fries, and it's super quick, 20 minutes, it's done. But that thing was totally destroying the indoor air quality of our house. And so now I put it up by the window and blow a fan on it so that it sucks all of that stuff out of the house. So this is the critical piece that has really changed our life. Now, in addition to using this, here are the things that I do to keep the indoor air quality clean while using my old fireplace to build a fire. The first thing that I do is I try to build the fire from the top down. Normally you'd think you'd want to build it from the bottom up. So normally what I actually do is I'll build it in the middle. So for example, I'm going to throw a couple other pieces of wood in here. For example, what I'll do is I'll make a floor. Make a floor like this. And then I'll make a cap like this. And then I'll actually place 3 of these fat sticks. Now I know the macho, ego-driven part of myself doesn't want to use fat sticks. I want to do it off-grid and with kindling, and you totally can do that, but if you're struggling with wet wood or just to make sure that your fire is going to start quickly, this is a real simple, easy way to do it. You can totally do it with kindling, but this just makes it easy. So this is the part 2 of what we do. So you build the fire from the top down, but the other part is I make a little 3-inch pocket inside here, 2 to 3 inches. You don't want the fire to have to work too hard to move anywhere. Even if there's already a fire in here, I'm just going to show you how this is going to work. And we're still at 8 parts per million at 2.5 microns, so we're okay. So what'll happen now is this little tunnel that I've made here, 2 to 3 inch tunnel with the fat sticks, will start pulling the fire back that way. Now if the fireplace was super cold, it wouldn't really work that well. So now it's a little bit warmer. So this, we can check this again. So I have the door open right now, and generally when I start the fire, do not leave the door open. 10 parts per million at 2.5, 10 and 9. So the draft is pretty good right now, and that's really the key. I'm just going to review all the different things that I do to keep the indoor air quality good. This is what changed our life, the air tester. I'll put a link in the description to the one that we like. I did read through all of the reviews on Amazon and watched a bunch of the videos on YouTube and landed on this one, and we've been using it for, what, like 3 months? Like 3 months or so. And you know, we set it up, we set it up outside, and every time that I've had smoke going on in the house or something weird, it registers it. Every single time that I've built a bad fire, it knows. And it lets me know. Also having some air purifiers around in case you do get the air bad in your house. Opening up your doors and windows if that happens. Building the fire, so creating a floor so that you build the fire down rather than just up. That really helps a lot. Closing the door when you initially start the fire, and hopefully you've got a high air intake. And then, swallow your pride if you're getting smoke into the house and use some fat sticks to start it off. This winter was an especially long winter and especially cold, and we ran out of wood. And so we were using, some of this wood is kind of wet. You can see right here, this is actually kind of wet, which is a bummer. Like, I know I shouldn't be using wet wood, but I'm out of wood, so I got to use what I got. So some of that moisture really makes it for less of a clean burn. In a perfect world, I'm using perfectly dry wood, but this year that didn't happen. So a little check back in here. So we're up to 12 and 30. So we just hit moderate. Normally, I don't leave the door open when we burn a fire, but for making this video, I wanted to do it to see sort of what happened. And you can also see that these ones aren't lighting as good, because they're a little wetter. And so we're just moving in. So it's 14. So I'm going to go ahead and close the fire. I'm not going to turn on air filters today. Okay, so I closed the door, and we're in moderate. So I can't really tell. I can't tell that we've been putting smoke into the house, but we have.
I can smell it.
My daughter can smell it. I can't smell it. Using this, so you can see right here too, that it's now moving up into the gray area. They call it best operation, and that says right there, 230 degrees Fahrenheit, and then the top end is 475 Fahrenheit and 250 Celsius. My daughter doesn't get sick as much. Her chronic cough has gone away. My wheezing has gone away. We have clean air. Definitely I have to monitor it. Like right now, for the sake of filming, I let this go a little bit farther than I would. At this point, probably after I turn off the camera, I'm going to turn on my filters, and I'm going to try to knock this down to the green zone. This also measures your formaldehyde and your volatile organic compounds. Those will go way up if we're using cleaning supplies or if we're cooking on the stove. One final sort of tip about fireplace tools. One of the things that I actually made another video saying how this was my favorite fireplace tool, but what I noticed when I used the blower on the fireplace is that I would push a lot of smoke into the house. And so now I use it very sparingly. Don't tamp down your fireplace at night. Just be okay with a colder night and let it burn so that it really burns hot and faster after you go to sleep, so that you don't have the smoky air coming back in the middle of the night. So my daughter has a cold right now. And I was wondering, I didn't know whether her cold was from the coughing that she was having was from the smoke, or if it was because she was coming down with a cold. So I literally got this tester yesterday when she started coming down with a cold and put it right next to where she was sitting. And it was green and it was fine. So then I knew she was coming down with a cold rather than the air quality being bad. So, the moral of the story is test, 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 test. The more data you can get, the better you can manage your health. But the more data you have, the better decisions you can make. And so make good fires by testing your air and using these tips that I've given you.